Most religious stories and mythos have common archetypes and themes despite being fundamentally different stories. I'll be looking into these common links between religious stories to give you a better understanding of them and be able to recognize patterns across religions and religious stories. To understand most religious stories, we need to understand the 4 different archetypes defined by Jung. These archetypes are the Great Mother, the Trickster or Deceiver, the Wise Old Man, and the Tyrannical Father. So where do these archetypes come from? These archetypes can be placed on a chart of masculinity, femininity, and good and evil. If we want to be more scientific, we can add R and K selection to the good and evil, as R strategists tend to behave in selfish and evil ways, while K strategists tend to behave in good, selfless ways. Femininity and masculinity split is due to the females tend to behave in feminine archetypes, while more males tend to follow the masculine archetypes. Some males will follow the feminine archetypes and strategies, while some females will follow masculine archetypes and strategies. Jung referred to the evil side of the psyche as the shadow, so the shadow feminine is the deceiver and the shadow masculine is the tyrannical father. So how does this relate to most religious stories? Well, once we break down these archetypes into related things, concepts, and animals, we will be able to recognize these archetypes in religious stories and characters and understand the underlying message. Let's start out with the Great Mother. This is the ultimate representation of fertility and purity. Some things the Great Mother is symbolized by is fruit, cows, and water. Love is the core emotion related to the Great Mother. Next is the Tyrannical Father. This is the hateful, controlling side of masculinity. Some things the Tyrannical Father is symbolized by is fire, big cats, swords, and spears. Hate is a core emotion related to the Tyrannical Father. The Deceiver is a deceptive, greedy, envious, think borderline personality disorder, and manipulative archetype. The Deceiver is often symbolized by snakes, spiders, pests, and other poisons. Disgust is the core emotion related to the Deceiver. The Wise Old Man is the archetype that is closest to God. The Wise Old Man is all about sacrifice, forgiveness, heroism, honesty, honor, teamwork, wisdom, intellect, and spirituality. The Wise Old Man is often symbolized by eagles, dogs, shields, armor, and old bearded men. Admiration is the core emotion of the Wise Old Man. Now that we understand the archetypes on a relatively simple level, let's look into religious stories and themes that can be looked at through this lens. Let's begin with the Osiris myth. The basic story is that Set kills Osiris, Isis revives Osiris, Isis gives birth to Horus, and Horus kills Set. Isis is the Great Mother, Osiris is the Tyrannical Father, Horus is the Wise Old Man, and Set is the Deceiver. We see the themes of sacrifice, resurrection, and heroism in this story. A related story of Star Wars, the Emperor kills Darth Vader, who is protecting his son. Padme gives birth to Luke, and Luke kills the Emperor. Padme is the Great Mother, Darth Vader is the Tyrannical Father, the Emperor is the Deceiver, and Luke is the Wise Old Man. There's also a theme of sacrifice when Obi-Wan Kenobi, another Wise Old Man, sacrifices himself. In Christian and Jewish mythology, Mary is the Great Mother, Moses is the Tyrannical Father, Judas and Satan are the Deceiver, and Jesus is the Wise Old Man. Some people in real life, like Jesus, followed the Wise Old Man archetype very well, albeit with some slight differences. In the story of Medusa, the shield represents the Wise Old Man, the sword represents the Tyrannical Father. Medusa represents the Deceiver, and Andromeda represents the Great Mother. The core evolutionary idea of this story is that the Wise Old Man can honestly check the deceitful female and turn them into a Great Mother. The story of Adam and Eve is an easy one to see with these archetypes. The snake is the Deceiver, and the fruit is the Great Mother. If you rush to the fertility, the shadow feminine will devour you. The story of the snake and the fruit tree is much older than Adam and Eve, and is one of the first recorded stories where a giant serpent regarded the tree of life with the fruit of eternal life. If Adam was smart enough to see through the snake's deception, he would have been granted the fruit by God, and thus live forever, which is code for passing on your genes. The whole point of the story is to point out that the dual nature of femininity, the fruit of fertility and the snake of deception. While there are many more stories that relate to the 4 archetypes and of the Great Mother, the Tyrannical Father, the Deceiver, and the Wise Old Man, real life people also tend to follow these archetypes as they are part of our superconscious. Although most people tend to follow the archetypes in little bits, not completely fully. In conclusion, most religious stories involve archetypes and symbolism that relate to good and evil sides of masculinity and femininity. By examining these archetypes, we can go into a better understanding of different religious stories and also a better understanding of people and their motivations.